Alright, action, we're rolling. Lights, we got lights on. Had to get a whole wheelbarrow of stuff for this thing. Got the Warbonnett Blackbird, oh that's pretty cool. Warbonnett Blackbird Hammock, the Multicam Blackbird XLC. Doing some rigging. Got it in porch mode, as the famous and revered King of Lollygag Shug loves to do. Took me a while to get this far. This is the extra wide bottom quilt from Hammock Gear, the Incubator, with the extra wide baffle. I don't know how people rig these hammocks. I've just been coming up with things where I've got the shot cord, a loop, then it clips to the tarp. Around here I've got kind of the same thing. Nobody knows the Blackbird. It's like a luxurious hammock. It has the shelf that comes out here. I've got this, and then it's rigged to this. I think normally they stake it out, but I don't know, I'm not a fan, because then I just like it simple. Take it to the tarp, right? And I'll show you why I have this big wide. They added an extra baffle for me, which is really cool. Because my feet tuck into here, and I feel like this is the famous foot box of the Blackbird hammock. I feel like, I don't know, when my feet were in here, they'd push up against this net and they get cold because I didn't have enough big enough bottom quilt to cover it. I feel like it stays on it pretty well. You can't even see the difference, eh? And I'll show you what I mean. The hammock gear here has a lot of adjustments. So for instance here, I think they call this the secondary. I gotta be more confident. I know they call this the secondary suspension. So I kind of slacken this side of the secondary because I know my feet are gonna come this way, and I tighten this side of the secondary because I know that the Blackbird has a super angled lay. And the nice thing about this rigging is it gets these up out of your face. You can lay in it. I just don't like how they dangle in my face. They say, I think Warbonnett says you're supposed to stake this out, but to me obviously you leave some slack and because you get in the hammock, it settles, and I don't know. I feel like it's working out pretty good this way. Lately I've been doing, oh, that's a nice picture. Boom. Lately I've been doing a lot of work with like hammock socks, bivvies, I don't know, things that like get the frost off, and I thought it'd be neat to rig up the top cover because it's pretty breathable, the same fabric as the hammock. I believe, at least according to, I think, Warbonnett, I believe you're looking at a 2013 Blackbird XLC. I think it's one of the classics. Figured it'd go along with my 2013 Superfly Tarp here. And anybody doesn't know the Superfly Tarp, there's others out there now. It's pretty much industry standards of a big doored tarp, 4-season tarp. It's got the doors back here. I have a door rigged to the ground here, and then the regular line kind of stabilizes it. I get other door dangling there. It's got the bells and whistles if you like kind of setting up a camp. I'll step out once more. You can see that. I put my own custom camo on top. It's kind of like a siliconized paint. When I first bought it, I had trouble with water leaking in through the ridge, and I guess I just didn't seam seal it up enough or something, or maybe it was too close to my face or whatever. Bought a Cuba silicone caulk and some siliconized paint. Never had a trouble since. But I just seen lately how people use these wings and string them out to different things. The bears wouldn't like this. The cougars. goes along with my theory of things don't like strings. You get the strings around your camp, that animal's coming in, its whiskers hit that string, it doesn't like it. Don't take my word for that. Alright, so we come into it, and yeah, this is rigged up nicely. I mean, you could put a longer cord with a loop. I'm just kind of getting my prototype down. I could get some lighter weight line and shot cord and stuff. It's a heavier setup. It's more for like luxurious glamping in the hammock. It's one of the best laying hammocks I've ever been in. I don't really use a pad or anything. A pad doesn't really work out. It has a set ridge line and a set amount of sag. It looks like that's way down there, but that thing settles into it. I've been fine-tuning it. This bottom quilt's a little longer than the green one I had made before from Hammock Gear. This is their extra long and it's extra wide. But I'll show you what I mean. Getting into it, so this hammock, I think these days you can flip around I'll turn this off. You can flip the top around in different things on the new ones, but this hammock is only made to go one way. I've got the bug net, it's similar. Look at this Simply Lights Designs peak bag dingle dangle in there. Reminds me of one of those things that dangle from the bumper of a truck. These bigger hammocks, it's always fun to reach and grasp, but it's kind of fun to bounce around in them. They're super comfortable. I get in here, and what I was talking about is, see where my feet are, and I can feel that bottom quilt. It's about right there. But the way this was, let's say I had my other bottom quilt, my smaller one, and my REI Magma sleeping bag. It's like a 15 Fahrenheit sleeping bag, gets me through a lot of the season, but it's that really fluffy goose down. My feet hit against the top or the net or whatever I have, or the mosquitoes can bite you too, and the insulation compresses and I get a little cold spot in my foot. Well, with this nice big bottom quilt, it's about right there. I'm able to kind of tinker around with it and get it up over my feet, which is kind of nice. I don't know if the Wookiee does that. I heard a couple times that, like, the one wish people ever sent to me about the Wookiee was like, they wish the Wookiee was a little wider. So the Wookiee's like a highly specialized bottom quilt for this hammock, which I'd love to have. I've seen it come up for sale a couple times and missed getting one. I'll take the leap of faith and buy one sometime, but for now, I've been getting super good service from Hammock Gear. Warbonnett answers the phone too, and I've spoke to them. Super good companies. I think Warbonett's down in Tennessee now. Hammock Gear's in Ohio. Fella from Warbonnett was like, yeah, before we made the Wookiee, the Hammock Gear was kind of our go-to for bottom quilts for the Blackbird. So with this bigger, longer bottom quilt, I'm able to get coverage there, and it just really nicely wraps around my shoulder. So I'm pretty toasty in the Blackbird now. As far as how this sock, or I'm calling it a sock, this top cover of the hammock goes, I haven't really like used it much. I've been trying to get this whole setup into the field a little more for especially the winter, and I want to see, the newer top covers can flip either direction on the hammock, and they've got a bit of venting there, which I kind of like to be able to peek out and stare at different things. I see why they did that. You're kind of, once you're in here, you know, you're like in a big multicam burrito, the multicam burrito. No, it's nice. It's a beautiful hammock. I guess this multicam's a pretty rare one, and I'm glad I have it. I got it off Ryan Dye and Deadman's Outdoors. Used. It was plenty of money used. Hopefully this video comes out. You can get a little peeker out here. Peek out at the moose. There's Pappy's way over there. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty toasty in this. I think. Oh, the hammock here also has a little ribbon like this on the outside, so I've considered. I haven't really touched this, but anything on this, but I've considered kind of making a loop on it out there, and just then you can kind of secure the bottom quilt to it a little better. I've seen Warbonnett. I think Warbonnett do that in its videos, but I feel like it was a good move with this bottom quilt, making it the extra large, extra wide, because I don't really have to think through and get back out of the hammock and fiddle faddle. Man, I need to raise that up a little, or I need to tighten this side, or raise the end of the hammock up. It's just like you settle into the hammock and you're good. Oh yeah, 2024. Hope everybody's doing all right. I liking it, living the good life, living large out here in the hammocks. It's kind of nice. So this thing dangles enough. If I want to watch some videos or hang out or whatever, I can kind of make Jared's peak bag my little pillow. It's got the net in it. If I have that, I can put my puffy or something in it. I kind of like it in this hammock. And it's got that big old shelf, if you had, a big old Cocker Spaniel or something likes to climb up your hammock, stick its head out here or something. I don't know. There's plenty of space in this thing. This is the Warbonnett Blackbird XLC 11-foot hammock in the Multicam. I believe a 2013 version. This is its top quilt or top cover, and below me is the Hammock Gear Incubator Economy 10 Fahrenheit woodland brown camo colored bottom quilt. So working out pretty nice. As far as my riggings go, I've just got some different shot cord and paracord and whatever. I liked Ryan Dye put these on the bug net. I really liked his move, kind of lengthening so you can kind of grab the zippers. I even grab them with my toes. I got a couple videos. I got Superior Gear makes a nice one. It kind of glows in the dark, and you can kind of grab that sucker and pull it. Because man, these bigger hammocks, they're pretty long dung. They're kind of, you're getting in these things, but you're secure, like that orange Eno Sub 6 I use most of the time. I mean, especially when I put that big pad in there, that thing is a little tippy. You got to have a learning curve or be used to floating in the air for that one. There have been a couple times I've gone over, like, you're secure in this Blackbird. I mean, especially if you like being cozy, like, even the bug net's a really fine, sturdy mesh, like, it holds a bit of heat and you feel kind of like privacy and all that. So plus you got the big Superfly doored tarp. If it was gonna rain or storm, you could quickly just pull that sucker down and rig it up. I guess I could show how I rig it. I don't want to run out of tape though. I'm at like 14 minutes. It's pretty simple to rig them. I think what is it, Brandon and the staff at Warbonnett have some certain different dingle dangers, stingers and whatnot. I don't know what they call them, but again, I just rigged a net. You could use a whole loop of shot cord. I just ran out of shot cord. Just tie your string to that. You could use lighter weight string. I've just got one of those nifty little clips. You could have a loop or something different there. Then I got these off Amazon a couple years ago, or no, I bought them off the company. I forget the name of them though. The same with the line. It's just a different take on the whole line lock thing, and This tarp is scheduled for some better rigging. It takes so many. That's just from Grand Trunk. That's a tarp door clip. I don't particularly like these plastic things. But you know, they came. I think it came from Hammock Gear or Dutchware or something. But you know, in theory, you could just clip the two doors together, or take that line and clip the wings back on it. Then you just gotta. I like these aluminum Walmart outdoor trekking poles. They've been super sturdy. I've had them in the snow a lot and took them down to southern Illinois. It's in a be found mode with the glowy lines. You don't lose the hammock in the woods. You can make them stealthy. My companion for the night. What else? I usually have a hook here. That's a carbon Dutch stake. Oh, I just broke another at stake steak. I feel like I barely pushed on this stake and it just snapped. Snapped. I broke two others and they sent me. This is the company At Steaks. I feel like I paid a decent amount, like $8 a steak or something. I'm not nixing them or anything, but that's, I think, the third steak. I mean, I wasn't pushing that hard. I don't know what they're designed for. These are pretty sturdy Wise Owl steaks. That's a Dutch carbon fiber steak, about as light as you could get. But again, you know, I broke at least one of those, but as long as you're easy on those, they're not too bad if you want the lightest steaks out there. I've got another one over here. I put a little glow-in-the-dark puller thing on. My steaks in the field, steaks on the plain. I use a Z-Pax carbon fiber steak right now, and then I'm gonna go to for most other things, I think a Big Agnes 10-inch dirt dagger. So I'm hoping to get some of that stuff up to snuff. And do another one of these. Got the loop around it. The trekking pole can go right in there. Then my my shelf to my hammock. Got the this is a little bit better rigging here. I had this good length of shot cord, so it just comes off, and then no matter what tarp, or if, you know, like I said, if you wanted to just stake it on the ground, different places you could run the cord a little longer with a loop for some stakes. That's a lot of stakes though, if you think about it. You got two for the hammock. You got two on either side for these. At least one for the doors on either side. I already lost count. 8 of them maybe. But I mean, it's a pretty sturdy tarp when it's set up. And of course you can go right to the ground. I'm talking 8 stakes, not snakes. You could even have more if you put these into use. Like, I've had this in cabin tent mode, like with a big inner mesh tent, and my nephews would come and stay the night in it. It's a big, I mean, it's a big expedition tarp here, this Superfly. Video. It is a video. I thought it was a, oh yeah, that's cool. I thought it was just going to be a picture, but it went to video mode. It's like a techno, what is that thing in there? That, my friends, is the Warbonnett Multicam Blackbird Hammock with the hammock gear. They call it Woodland Brown, but I thought it was a pretty close match. The bottom quilt here, you can hardly tell where one begins and the other end. I have the winter top cover deployed. Kind of traps a little more heat underneath there. Kind of testing it for condensation and such here. But yeah, this is a quickie video. Got the Superfly rigged into the famous Shug style porch mode. So enjoy the night. Oh yeah, this particular hammock, it works best if you get the tarp out and everything out. A lot of my hammocks, I like my ultralights. Well, like this Eno, for instance. This is what I take most places. I just throw a pad in that. Let's see a little rig for that. I've got the here we are. Big Agnes system hanging out here. This is your ground door hammock type of system. Just throw it on the ground, throw it anywhere. Hiding out underneath this cloak, this hammock gear bottom quilt. This bottom quilt protector will lash around that system over there, or I can kind of cloak myself and it comes up over my shoulders. Pretty darn snazzy. Where is he? What happened to that guy? I thought I saw a hammock out there in the woods. I don't know. I thought I saw it too. Alrighty, yeah. Getting into the Blackbird, got the top cover and my REI Magma sleeping bag. A little tricky, but I'm able to tuck into the sleeping bag some miles on these icebreakers. And it's got that nice foot box there. And I've got my bottom quilt that kind of tugs over my feet. I'm pretty toasty. It's supposed to actually snow or something, I heard. Also saw a bunch of ambulance. I went for a walk around Pappy's neighborhood down the bluff there, and there's all kinds of like ambulances and stuff heading up north. Must have been 55 or 60 police units. I'm glad I'm safe and in the hammock. I don't know. Just wish all the best out there. I mean, can't imagine. You're imagining the worst, you know, like who knows what happened, but I don't know. Somebody lost a tire? I don't know. Alrighty, action. We're rolling. Oh yeah. Need lights or anything? I don't know. That helps a little bit. Inside the Multicam Warbonnett Blackbird XLC Hammock. It's got the top cover. The cover zips to the hammock. I've been doing some experiments about how like covers help keep the moisture and frost off your sleeping bag and stuff. I had the Big Agnes Daisy May sleeping bag. It's a real puffy down sleeping bag, and it got kind of wet and smelly in the tent just from it being heavy rain and sleet outside. This one doesn't do too bad. It has like a Pertex shell, but you can see it's still got a decent amount of moisture on it despite the covering over me. The hammock sock from Dutchware Gear, it was like a big black sock that you pull over the hammock. It was real wet. This is definitely moist. It's more of like a breathable fabric, it seems like. It's the same thing the hammock's made of. That said, I can't really account for how much it helps. It's definitely warmer in here. So one could only assume maybe less moisture and frost might build up on the sleeping bag. Like I think it's right around, I don't know, it's maybe a little above freezing, but especially when it gets below freezing, you get out and you just see a layer of frost on your sleeping bag. See the dew. It's moist. I touch it and my hand's moist. And there's down underneath there, which can get compromised. So it starts like, how would you be day after day after day of winter travel when it's cold and you're going to be packing your gear away like this and stuff? It's inevitable that your down is going to get compromised, your insulation. So I arrived at getting the synthetic sunbeam. Pardon my teeth and stuff. Oh, I shouldn't get the close up with the can. It's morning out. And I gotta get up and brush my teeth and go find grannies and work on the deck. Anyway, I hope to get out on some expeditions, do some traveling, get these hammocks into play. But they're real good in the backwoods. see. The whole I was working the bottom quilt cover. Get out here. And a couple times I had it over my sleeping bag like a bivvy, and the bottom quilt cover got pretty wet, but on the inside I thought like a thinner type of bivvy would be a little more breathable, and it wasn't necessarily the case. So the bottom quilt protector is fairly dry, you know. My biggest question is, here's a look at the setup from the outside. Got a Superfly tarp over top. But I put these poles on the zipper. Pretty nice, Lieutenant Dan. But I can't really account for how much it helps. You would think there'd be less moisture on the sleeping bag if it's a little warmer in here. But I don't know really. Would the sleeping bag being outside evaporate quicker or something? I don't know. How much does the top cover or the cocoon or the bivvy help? Is a tent better for managing the moisture and everything over the winter? Are you better off in a tent? A hammock is a lot like a tent, so I don't know. I notice when I pitch my tarp over my hammock, it keeps the moisture down. So if I just pull out the tarp at night, the sleeping bag doesn't seem to get that wet compared to when I'm sleeping right under the stars. So I wonder how much more the top cover helps or doesn't help compared to just having the tarp over the hammock. Either way, this has been a pretty nicely performing sleeping bag in the hammock. Now that I have, you can kind of see it there, the bottom quilt, that darker line across there might make a difference if yeah, you can really see it there. Now that it comes up over my feet, this is a lot better hammock to be in. It's really kind of a game changer for staying in the Blackbird, because before I'd have no way to stay really that warm underneath it, and without something coming over my feet, either in the summer the mosquitoes would bite my feet, or in the winter my feet would get cold because they're pressed against this sheet on the hammock. Pretty good hammock overall though, real nice hammock. I think it just might be the most comfortable laying, gathered in hammock I have that that's out there. Your feet just kind of drop into position and it puts you where you need to be. I had a bridge hammock once. A nice guy, I think his name Dave, made it. I wish I kept it. It was a nice, I think it was a digital camo and had a nice storage bin at the end. I should have kept it. It was just like a little too light a fabric for me, I thought at the time. I'm sure I would have been fine in it, because I'll just never get to keep something like that again. You know, some other person over in Georgia or wherever makes it and puts their own hands on it and makes something like that for you and thinks it all through, and then you send it back, you're probably never going to see it again. Something like that. Alrighty, action. Yeah, there's the Second-Hand Blackbird next to the shed and the Hail Mary. Got the porch mower mowed out with the Superfly. Not too bad. Beautiful hammock. Good night in it. Oh yeah. Alright, action. This Blackbird was pretty darn nice to stay in. Got my Magma 15 in there. And the hammock gear Incubator. Somebody asked how wide was it. Well, they added a baffle. I think Hammock Gear said it'd be about 5 inches wider. And then it's the extra long, so it wraps around that big long diagonal lay and gets over your shoulders. I was just kind of testing the bottom quilt protector, seeing if any moisture built up. I've never had one of those, so I actually thought about using it for a bivvy kind of over top of my other sleeping bag systems, and it built up a lot of moisture that way, but it did not seem to build up much moisture here. And nor did this. It definitely was wet, but it was pretty cold and frosty out. When I got out, the tarp had frost on it, so the sleeping bag definitely had still a coat of moisture. I would only assume that the top cover maybe would have mitigated that moisture a little bit. Usually there's like a layer of frost on the sleeping bag. The one thing about this is, if you want to pull the shelf out and everything, I see why enthusiasts like Shug always like porch mode, because you know, if the tarp's deployed, you can tie off the net real easy. But staking it out, it kind of, I guess if you have a long enough rope, it kind of, you know what I mean? I don't feel like it's right to stake it right to the ground, because you're trying to go in and out of there. Kind of wondering how people set it up, if they just had the net on and want to look at the stars. But I've just got it so it goes out to the tarp. What is it? Just got all kinds of stuff flopping around. Just hooks on there like that with an adjuster, and then I got that like that. That's the Blackbird XLC. That's the shelf. Alright, Mr. Snowman. Granny's platform's coming along. Some angle cuts to make. Oh yeah.